Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you're notified each time I post. If you've been here before, thank you so much for returning. So, as you can see by the title, I'm going to be informing you about all of the electricity plans, like normal plans that you're probably used to, and then prepaid lights. So I'm basically just going to side by side compare them for you. So, if you watched my last video, I'm sure that you heard me say something about Texas having all of these different electricity companies. We have prepaid, we have the traditional one, and we have 101 different traditional companies, and how it's difficult if you're not from this area to pick one. So I hope that this video helps. You can even leave me a comment if you have any questions that maybe didn't get answered in the video or something that just popped into your head. Comment down below and I'm sure I can find an answer for you on it. My move was like sort of last minute, but not really. Like I was sort of prepared for it, but the whole electricity thing just, it was stressful for me. So the one thing that I did do, I have family here and I got a couple of friends here. They were kind of able to help guide me through it. But as far as like looking on YouTube or looking just on the internet for help, I couldn't really find the guide that would help me finally be able to choose like how to choose your cheapest rate, how to measure what you used to have. Like all of that was just over my head pretty much. So before we like dive into each one about prepaid versus traditional, this tip that I'm about to say counts for the whole thing. So I'll go through the website with you that I used. I went to a website that's called Compare Power. Basically how it works is if you have found your apartment or you know an area that you're wanting to go into, this could be an apartment, house, anything. But if you have found a location that you want to be in, you type in your zip code and it pulls up all of the hundreds of electricity companies that you are eligible for, and also the ratings, like kind of like a cell phone comparison website. This is long story short, it'll just make a spreadsheet for you of anything that you're eligible for, the rates, monthly, all that kind of stuff. Just to name a fraction of the traditional companies that we have here, just the normal electricity style companies that we have here, they're called TXU, Frontier, Pulse Power, 4Change Energy, Jexa Energy, Constellation, Discount Energy, Green Mountain Energy, like the list goes on and on. So I'm not gonna list all of them because I can't. Then you have the prepaid route, so we have Payless Power, Pogo Energy, Tri-Eagle Energy, like we have ACACIA, I don't know. Anyway, y'all can read that for yourself down there. But we're gonna get into the most important part, which is dividing the prepaid versus the traditional. So I actually made some notes here about specific differences in them that you should check out when you're researching and like on the websites. So regular electricity, so they require a social security number, they require a credit check, they require a deposit that's going to be based off of your credit check. They don't actually require an activation fee, but what they don't tell you is they just tack it on at the end of your bill anyway, so technically they do, but they don't, if that makes sense. They do have a monthly invoice, they have late fees, they have the low variable and the fixed rates, so they're gonna have different options. Even though it's that same company, it's just like a phone plan. It can be with AT&T, but some people have unlimited data, some people have 3 gigabytes, some people have 5. This is gonna be the same thing with your electricity. So, and then they also have what's called a low variable and a fixed rate. I'll go back to that in a second. They have automatic payments, and then they have online account management. So it's just an app that you can download wherever you have. I personally have Frontier. I don't think I mentioned that on here, but that turned out to be the cheapest one. So also on the Compare Rates website that I mentioned earlier, when you go through there, it's gonna ask you, or your best option to find your cheapest electricity rate for you personally, because everybody else is different. So it kind of helps, but it kind of doesn't. So if you especially live by yourself now, go back and look at your electricity bill, and it should show you your wattage, like how many watts you're using per cycle. So let's say you used 600 kilowatt hours. Okay, then you go to this website, it's gonna ask you for that information, and when you input it in there, it should show you like a bill estimate. But I'm just gonna tell you that's not always accurate. Actually, it was quite inaccurate. It overrated mine quite a bit. So a little bit of backstory: I lived by myself before I moved here for a little while, so I did have something to go off of. But where I'm from in Oklahoma, I didn't know that they charge a lot for electricity. When I came here, I have almost the same square footage apartment that I had back home. I'm burning all the AC, all the lights, like I'm cooking, I'm cleaning, like I have electricity running through the roof at times, and my bill is like half of what it used to be before I moved here. So I guess it's somewhat accurate, just depends on where you're moving from. So what's a fixed rate? A fixed rate is exactly what it says, fixed rate. So let's compare it to gas. Quick Trip is charging $1.88 for gas. Then, and you signed a contract, then you're only allowed to go to Quick Trip, and you're paying that $1.88. But that's the only, it's not gonna change, it's a fixed rate. So if Shell, Exxon, what other gas station, Walmart, Sam's Club, Costco, if all of the other gas stations decide to raise their price, you're still at the $1.88 for gas. You're good. The downside to a fixed rate is when the market is like, when they bring their prices down, your price isn't gonna change. You're stuck at $1.88, but everybody else may be paying $1.62 instead. But the fixed rate, it's good and bad because you're literally stuck with what you get. So keep that in mind if that's something that you are considering. Just a tip that some people may never mention about electricity and insulation. Insulation in your home is really important. If it's an older apartment or living space, hopefully it's insulated to a good standard, because when it's really, really hot or really, really cold and you're burning the air and heat really high, or you're gonna want to, that bill is gonna skyrocket. Versus, you know, if you had a very well insulated place, then it keeps your core temperature where it should be. For the prepaid electricity, it's not too much different, but I would say for someone who is a beginner wanting to just get out on their own, maybe you don't have the best credit, things like that, or maybe, you know, if you don't really know how much electricity you use, it might benefit you to use a prepaid electric company. So you don't have to have your social security number for it. They don't run your credit check. The only thing that's different is they do require you to pay like an activation fee, which isn't that big of a deal. They still have the low variable rates versus the fixed rates. They have all of that. They still have it to where you can log in and pay on your phone. They do still have a termination fee, but hopefully this video is informative for you, so when you do choose your electricity, you don't have to transfer. Y'all, I'm sorry, if it's like gradually getting darker, that's because it's only like 3 o'clock in the afternoon and it's thunderstorming outside, and I'm constantly losing light from this window, so I hope you can still see me well. Okay, so my last tip is basically just do your research. When I came here, you know, of course I didn't have the most help, but you know, I would be looking at apartment complexes and they would tell me I would ask them for recommendations on electricity companies, and for some reason they always went to this one company. I'm not gonna say the name, but you'll be able to find it very easily. They would always tell me like, yeah, they have free nights and weekends. And I was like, okay, well, that means I can do laundry, clean, cook, whatever on the weekends, which is typically when I do it anyway. So I was like, the things that would burn up the most electricity, I would be using it on the weekend for free. And at nighttime, watching TV. Like during the week, I got things to do. I'm at work. I'm never at home during the week. So I just really thought that made sense. And then I started to learn and understand about the wattage per hour and your usage and all of these different things and how to calculate it. And I was like, that's a ripoff. So just do your research for yourself. I know that it's really, really time consuming, but your wallet is gonna thank you so much later. I know mine is thanking me. Well, I guess I'm wrapping this video up now. That is all that I have for you. I truly hope that this helps somebody, because I would have really appreciated to have this information when it was my turn moving here. But I will catch you guys in my next video, and thank you so much for watching. Bye.